Hey everybody, before we get into this awesome video, I wanted to announce a giveaway that I'm doing. I am giving away a Wild Game Innovations 360 cellular camera. I used the camera last year and I decided that it is so awesome that I want to give it away to one of you guys. So all you got to do to enter the drawing is subscribe if you're not subscribed already, like the video, share with at least one friend, but the goal is to share it with as many people as possible and then comment done. I'm not going to give away the camera until I've reached 500 subscribers. I think we're sitting at around 280 right now. So let's get as many people subscribed to Kickin' Feet Outdoors as possible. And as soon as we reach that 500 mark, I will draw and then announce the winner. So like I said, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, like the video, share with a friend, comment done in the comment section, and that is it. Very simple, and I'm looking forward to giving away this awesome cellular camera to one of you lovely people. Now let's get into this awesome video.
But ask the animals, and they will teach you, or the birds in the sky, and they will tell you, or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, or let the fish in the sea inform you. Which of all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every creature and the breath of all mankind. Job 12:7-10.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Kitchen, back in my humble abode where it all started. So today we are going to be making venison pepperoni, and I saw this recipe a while back on Facebook, I think it was, and I was like, you know what, I really want to make some venison pepperoni and then go out to the farm. My folks have a really nice outdoor pizza oven. Go out there and make some homemade pizzas. So this is going to be a swing at trying to make some venison pepperoni. So I've got the recipe here on my phone, and it calls for 1 pound of venison, which we have here, and then 1 pound of either ground beef or turkey. So I've got a pound of ground turkey right here. So first things first, and that is preheating the oven. And it says to preheat the oven to 200 degrees. So follow me on over to the oven. We'll go ahead and get that preheated. So just to go over the seasoning blend that is going into our mix. So we have smoked paprika. We've got garlic powder. We got fennel seeds, freshly bought from Walmart. And then crushed red pepper flakes, black pepper, kosher salt, which we have table salt. So just a real quick note on that, I just did some research. So roughly 1 teaspoon of table salt equals 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, because kosher salt is bigger flakes. It's a lot more coarse, whereas this table salt is a lot more fine. So in the recipe, I think it calls for 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. So rather than doing 2 teaspoons of this table salt, we'll just end up doing 1 teaspoon. And then it also calls for a sweetener, so either honey or maple syrup. And because we have the farm-raised, fresh, raw honey from my folks, we've got honey today. So that is our mix-up. And first steps are just mixing the meat together, and then we'll start getting into some of the seasonings. So let's just go ahead and get the meat mixed up. And rather than get my hands super dirty like more than twice, I'll just get the meat in here, and then we'll start adding in the seasonings. So here is our pound of turkey. Okay. And then we've got our pound of venison. Should look something a little like that. All right, we've got our tablespoon of smoked paprika. And I'm just going to set everything over here to the side. That way I know I've used it. Next, we're going down with a tablespoon of garlic powder. Sweet. And then next, we've got a teaspoon of fennel seeds. I'm going to go about 1.5 teaspoons. And then next up, we've got a teaspoon of our crushed red pepper flakes. Okay. And then 1 teaspoon of black pepper. And then last but not least, our 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, which for us is going to be a teaspoon of table salt. All right, and now we're just going to go ahead and get this all very well mixed up with our hands. Okay, so our next step is adding in a tablespoon of honey, and it also calls for some ice cold water. I'm not 100% sure why that is to add the ice cold water. I'm just going to do very small increments, mix until I feel like it's good enough, and we're going to go from there. So we've got a tablespoon of honey here, and I just pop this into the microwave and for about 30 seconds, let it kind of warm up and get more liquidy. So there's our tablespoon of honey. And then we're just going to add just a little bit of water. Hopefully none of these ice cubes go in there. Hopefully that's enough. Now we're just going to go ahead and get this mixed up. And then we'll kind of be getting into actually shaping our pepperoni logs. All right, so our next step is going to be forming the pepperoni log. So I've got down here some parchment paper, hoping this goes pretty well. If not, plastic wrap as a backup. But my wife made a good point that the plastic wrap might kind of get into some of those grooves. You don't want to be picking plastic out of your pepperoni. So we're just going to start with some small amounts here. I'm hoping to make the logs as long as this cookie sheet is here. So that is the goal. Hopefully we get at least 2, maybe 3 logs, and then we'll go from there. So I'm just going to grab, I don't want this to squeeze, as we roll it, it's going to want to squeeze out the sides. So maybe, kind of keep it towards the middle and we should be okay. Because then after we shape all this, we will be putting this in the freezer for about 30 minutes, let it get good and firmed up, and then we'll be able to actually, do the cooking process. That looks pretty good to me. So now we'll roll it up and hopefully this turns out. I think that's pretty good. And there we have 3 pepperoni logs. So let's go ahead and get these suckers in the freezer, and we'll freeze them for about 30 minutes and then straight into the oven. Alrighty, everybody. Now that we've had our pepperoni in the freezer for 30 minutes, I'm going to get these unwrapped on a cookie sheet on this wire rack. That way any drippings will actually stay in the cookie sheet, not make a mess in our oven. I've got my probes over here, so we'll get those put in each one. We're going to cook it until it reaches an internal temp of 160. There's our first one. Looks like pepperoni to me. See if it turns out. And like I said, we're just going to cook that until it reaches internal temps of 160. It should take 2 to 3 hours if I had to guess, and then we'll get everything cooled off and sliced. All right, everybody, now that our venison pepperoni is up to temp, I ended up going with 165 instead of 160 because I was using turkey. The other variation of that recipe was using beef instead of turkey, and I'd say you're good to go to 160 on that. But since I used turkey, went to 165 because it's poultry. So I'm going to go ahead and get this pulled out, and then get the probes unplugged from it, and then I'm going to set it in the freezer for about 30 minutes and let it kind of harden up and stop cooking. Looks beautiful. All right, everybody. Now that our venison pepperoni has chilled in the freezer for 30 minutes, I went ahead and cut each one in half. Eventually, I'm going to vacuum seal these, but I'll go ahead and show you pretty much what these things look like. To me, I'll be honest, I think it looks like meatloaf, but that's okay. It definitely doesn't look like what the picture was on Facebook, but you know what? It was from Facebook. So I am going to get these sliced up. I have it set at a very thin setting, and we'll play around with it if we need to fix it and adjust. But I'm going to try to get these sliced up, and then we'll taste test it, and then we'll be out making some pizzas. So let's see how these cut up, and hopefully they do well. First one, not good. Alrighty, guys, so the good news is it tastes good. The bad news is it did not cut very well. I think it's pretty dry. So I guess next time making this, I'd go heavier on the water, the ice cold water. I'm assuming that's where I kind of messed up. Anyways, I've got a sharp knife here. I'm going to cut it as thin as possible. I think it's just going to be crumbly. So no biggie. Unfortunately, it's not going to be like pepperoni slices, more like sausage crumbles. But it still has the same flavor that pepperoni does. So we're just going to roll with it, and we'll be able to use it. No biggie. But definitely, if you guys are doing this at home, add more water, or even probably be better with beef. Beef is fattier, and so maybe that would help. I really don't know. Well, everybody, I really appreciate you guys tuning in for another episode of Kickin' Kitchen. Although this didn't completely succeed, it didn't completely fail either. They're just pepperoni crumbles. A good idea, though, if you're doing this at home, maybe try putting it in casing, and you can put it in the oven or you can smoke it, but then just cut the casing off. Because as you can see in this pan, there's a lot of liquid moisture down in there. Which obviously came out of this during the cooking process. So we lost a lot of moisture, and I think if we had all that back, it'd be good to go. So maybe if you're doing it at home, put it in casing, smoke it, or put it in the oven, and then just do an ice bath afterwards, just like it was summer sausage, and then cut the casing off, and it should be just fine to slice through the on your slicer or with a knife or whatever, and it'd probably turn out, just like pepperoni. I'm not saying it's going to have that pink or red look to it, like the stuff from the store. There's dye and that sort of stuff. So this is as real as it gets. But anyways, I appreciate you guys tuning into this episode, And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, like the video, share with a friend. And yeah, we'll go ahead and get some pizzas going on tonight. Ought to be a good time. And until next time, stay with it.
Bring me into golden sunlight. If I'm going with you, I know we'll get to the other side. Sinking in, I know this feels right. Catching a breeze, love moving through me like a wildfire, like a wildfire. Never the same. Whenever you're calling my name, I'm taking my sweet time. Hey, whatever the plan, I know I'm holding the best of me out of my hand. I know you'll always understand. Bring me into golden sunlight. If I'm going with you, I know we'll get to the other side. Sinking in.